itstyrenee, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been about a little over a month since I posted, and I miss you guys dearly. And I actually decided to come back and bring you guys a video on me reacting to your unpopular Final Fantasy VIII opinions. And you're probably wondering, Ty, why Final Fantasy VIII in particular? Well, I realize within my Final Fantasy content in general that after I do kind of like a review on my thoughts overall, because I know a lot of people really want to hear what I have to say after I complete a Final Fantasy game for the first time, I usually do like an unpopular opinions of my own and just share it with you guys, or do like video essays on why I feel certain characters deserve better, or why this situation should have been handled differently, this, that, and third. But I personally didn't really have so many opinions on Final Fantasy VIII, which is why I asked you guys, what are your thoughts, so I can react and we can have an open discussion. Now, before we do move forward in the video, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into these unpopular opinions. Now, I will say that these unpopular opinions are going to be anonymous, so you do not have to worry about me calling you out, and I'm not going to put you guys on the spot. So a lot of people have sent me more than one, so I'm just kind of going to go by one person at a time and break it down from there. Some of you guys did say the same thing, so if I didn't necessarily say yours in your words, it's more likely because somebody had already said it, and you know, I just don't want to repeat myself here. So the first few that I have from this one person is, Irvin and Selphie should have been explored more as a potential couple. This one I do agree, even though I really do take a liking to Squall and Rinoa. I really think that Irvin and Selphie should have been explored more. To me, this relationship, or dynamic rather, it reminds me much of like how Prompto and Cindy are in Final Fantasy 15, where the guy, I don't want to call him a yearner or like a stalker, because it's just not the case. It's just like a guy has a crush on the girl, and the girl pays him no mind. But I feel like it could have been something cute. But I also kind of think too that maybe the writers wanted to just have the focus on just this one couple of Squall and Rinoa, and that's the only dose of romance that we get because they are the main characters. I personally did not really root for them, but I do see, or I wished maybe it could have been explored more. The draw and junction system is not that hard of a concept, and it's quite easy to understand. I agree with this one because I am somebody who, when it comes to video games and tutorials, I really don't like to follow directions. I'm kind of like a, let's just skip it because I'm going to get to the game and get to the good stuff. But for this system, it's really not hard to me. And it's not to like bash anybody who thinks it's hard. It's generally not hard. I never even got that idea on my first playthrough. I usually like to go blindsided when I'm playing the game because I don't want to come across spoilers or anything of that sort. And I never even got this idea in my head at all. And then after, when I came and finished the game, that's when I came across these opinions of it being difficult. I was like, whoa. Now, actually, before I started this video or filming, I actually turned on my PlayStation briefly, and I was like, let me turn it on and mess with the junction system a little bit to make sure that, you know, there was no difficulty to it, make sure I'm not missing something. I will say that there are certain aspects with certain characters with the magic, for some reason, and it's maybe because I wasn't playing mini games and stuff like that to unlock it, I can only equip magic on like certain parts of a character's status. So for example, I could only equip magic within the HP, the strength, and I believe the vital. Everything else was just kind of like blocked off, and I was like, okay. But the draw and juxta system is not really hard. I think it's kind of hard as far as picking what's really best for the characters and making sure that you'll be able to push throughout the game and move forward and not have trouble fighting off whoever you're fighting off. Another unpopular opinion from this particular individual is triple triad is not fun. I agree with this strongly. And again, I am someone who's not really big on mini games and anything of that sort. So I tried triple triad one time in my first playthrough, and that was like in the very beginning, where you could walk up to other students in the Balam garden. I tried it. I was like, oh, this is not for me. And thank God my best friend told me it's not mandatory to play triple triad in order to complete the game. I would have lost my mind with that because it takes me back to Queen's Blood. And I love Rebirth. I love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I could not do it with Queen's Blood. And I know you're going to say, well, Ty, you just said you don't like following instructions and things of that sort. So that's probably why it's difficult for you. I do not like, I don't think I like card games in general. So yeah, that wasn't for me. Now I know with triple triad, if you do win, if I am understanding correctly, that you could get more guardian forces and level up and more magic and things of that sort, but I'm thankful that I did not have to go through all of that. Alrighty, so I have another person here with a set of unpopular opinions. Laguna and Julia are a better couple than Squall and Renoa. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. They're not a bad couple, but with Laguna and Julia, like the dynamic is there, the chemistry is there, I see it, but I think because there wasn't too much screen time that I would have to kind of disagree with this. Now, on my first playthrough, I was rooting for Squall and Renoa incredibly. Like, after she gained unconscious and was just carrying her around and wishing for her to wake up, my heart was just like warm. Like, I grew a soft spot for them more. But I feel like the build up to Squall and Renoa's romance could have played out a little bit better. So I'm a little bit neutral on this opinion. Laguna's segments are the best and had the better music. Now, on my first playthrough, I was just kind of like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I personally wanted to focus on Squall's segments of the game. I was just like, man, I just want to get to Squall and Renoa and Quistis and everybody else. But I think the outcome of it all and his character really is the cherry on top for all of the segments that we had seen. I personally still like the segments that we have with Squall and everybody else, but I will say that Laguna is a phenomenal character. As far as the battle music, I don't really have too much opinion on the battle music on that one. I think I don't think the music in this game really kind of stands out in my opinion. There's another unpopular opinion on that. I won't dive too deep into the music part yet until I get to that unpopular opinion. And then another one that this person said is Selphie and Quistis over Renoa. I agree to disagree because I really did like Quistis. I think she was a great teacher. I loved her because I was like, oh my gosh, she's a baddie. That's like mother right there. And she was really there for Squall through thick and thin, but at the same time, I feel like we didn't really explore much of her, and that's what sucks. I don't think these characters really had much to explore with. I feel like it's there with most of these characters. I feel like the only character that really had a lot to explore with would be Laguna, kind of sort of really Squall, and Alone. Is it Elon or Alone? I'm gonna call her Alone. But it's, and I saw this tweet on Twitter, I forgot what it was, but basically I feel like these characters, there's a story there with them and there's a backstory, but it's not hard hitting, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it, but I do feel bad for Selphie as far as her losing her school. Questis is a great teacher, and I did feel bad for both of those girls as far as them being in the adoption center, which that whole adoption or orphanage situation has a huge plot hole within it, and nobody didn't bring it out in the unpopular opinions, but I feel like there's really should be no reason as to why the characters, except for Renoa, forgot that they grew up in an orphanage. That's another story. But I personally like Renoa more out of all of the three girls. I still love all of the girls, but Renoa just kind of hits for me more. Yeah. All right, so there is another set from another individual. Squanoa is the most boring canon romance in Final Fantasy. And I feel kind of like I'm in the wrong to really give an opinion because I have not played all of the Final Fantasies. But from what I've played so far, I would have to agree. Again, their romance didn't really kick in until Renoa gained unconsciousness. I wish there was proper build up to it because Squall did not care about Renoa for the longest time until she gained unconsciousness, which, like, yes, it's cute for him to realize, oh dang, I have a crush on her, but I really wished like it was a little tidbits of them having moments of really taking a liking to each, or Squall kind of noticing his feelings for her, and then once that hit, it would hit him like a train, like oh dang, I really have feelings for this girl. Honestly, yeah, I would kind of say it's a bit underdeveloped. Renoa is the most underdeveloped heroine in Final Fantasy. I'm gonna have to agree on that, and that is my child. I loved her down. In my first playthrough, I immediately like claimed her as like my adopted daughter. But I feel like we're missing some stuff with their character as far as, and this kind of ties in with the theory of her possibly being Ultimecia, but I just feel like there's certain aspects that are missing as far as how, I don't know, how is she so vulnerable to be underneath the possession of a sorcerer, even though it's like, yeah, she's a sorcerer, and then one minute it's like, no, she's not really a sorcerer. I don't know. The junction system is very fun, but functionally useless. That I'll have to disagree with. I don't think it's necessarily fun compared to the battle system like in, I don't know, Final Fantasy X. or Final Fantasy 15 or even 7 Remake and Rebirth, those are very unique as far as the setup, and it feels very rewarding to upgrade your characters. I wouldn't necessarily say it's useless too, because at the end of the day, you know, your characters do have to evolve in order for you to complete the game. Is it the worst combat system in a Final Fantasy game? No. Is it unique? No. And it doesn't invite you to use magic. Again, I did bring that up too. That is true. But it's just not, I don't know. It's not the best function. And then the last one of this person stated it has the top 3 best Final Fantasy soundtracks. I don't know about that one. I will be honest with you, because for me personally, there's been times where I would play on my first playthrough of a game and I'm like, oh, I like this sound, I like this sound, and then once I finish the game, I go back to the Spotify and try to figure out what title track is this song and that and that. With this one, I did not really revisit the soundtrack a lot. There are some songs here and there, and it's only like 2. The songs that I really like are Ride On and The Castle. And that's about it. And that's not really a lot compared to what I usually like in a Final Fantasy soundtrack. I would probably have like 4 or 5 different soundtracks. Alrighty. I have another one that says, I firmly believe Renoa changed the timeline to force everyone to like her. There's no explanation for the abrupt 180 on everyone's attitude does after a certain point. I'm not sure if this is trolling, but I think everybody's attitude switched up on her a bit once they realized how much Squall truly cared for her. And everybody knew Squall as like the nonchalant, stoic, standoffish individual, and then with him being the leader of everything that's going on, once they realize he has shown some sort of concern, they're like, oh my god, we should really show his care as much as he does, and we should be there for him as well. So I kind of look at it a little bit like that. Another one is I actually loved it. I think this Final Fantasy is one of the mixed review ones, like for sure, because coming into the Final Fantasy fandom, a lot of people were really giving a lot of hatred with Final Fantasy 15, but as time gone on by, they understood the fact that, yeah, the potential is there, but it's not as bad as people really make it out to be. I think it's not the worst Final Fantasy game. I can't really say it's the worst Final Fantasy game because I have not played all of them, but I don't think this one doesn't really speak to me, I should say. All right, so I have one last unpopular opinion as my foot fell asleep on me, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up before my leg dies on me. This last one is, I love thinking that theory of Ultimecia being Renoa. I think it adds something cool to the story. Now, when I first played this game, I did not even get the idea at all that that theory existed. I never came across that idea when I first played it. Now, I'm the type of person, like, when I'm done with like a book, a movie, or video game, I immediately go on YouTube and I like to see people's thoughts and opinions and see what they feel about the same thing, whether we have the same concept or not. I never came across this, and I didn't even know that this was a theory for real. And when I first came across the theory after I finished playing it last year, I just kind of brushed it off because I was like, that's ridiculous. But once I got this unpopular opinion again, I was like, hold on, I remember seeing this. So I actually went on YouTube, went out of my way to pull up this theory and listen to a video and see what would make people believe that Renoa is Ultimisia in the past, or Renoa is past version of Ultimisia. So what I did is watch this video, and I'm actually going to link it in the description box for you guys below to see where this person is coming from, because this person made a excellent video essay on this entire situation, and they pointed out a lot of things as far as Squall agreeing to be Renoa's knight, and he gave her the ring, which is the Griever, and she was the only one, at least from what we know, who knew what the Griever was, and that is the same name of the Guardian Forest that Ultimisia uses in the finale of Final Fantasy VIII. There's lots of belief that Ultimisia experienced some sort of grief and loss in the future or past, and she switched out to become who she is today, and that her goal is to compress the time so she wouldn't have to deal with that later on. And I was thinking, well, what would she be grieving about? And there also ties in with the theory of Squall possibly dying at disc 1. I didn't go too deep into that one. I might have to do some research on that one and share my thoughts on that later on. But I think it really does add something to the story. However, the creators of this personal game, specific Final Fantasy VIII game, when they were interviewed and asked like, hey, is this theory true or false? They said false. So we could only wish. I don't think this would add on to the remake if there was a remake of Final Fantasy VIII. I think that if it was true to canon, it would really add so much more to the story. It would make the story more richer. But unfortunately, it's just a fan theory. Nice concept though, but I think I would have to agree that this does make the story 5 times better. Well, alright, so that actually brings us here to the conclusion of this video here. I don't know, y'all. I want to do more reactions to your unpopular opinions on other Final Fantasy games and possibly Kingdom Hearts. Who said that? Not me. I don't know. If so, I would advise to look out for my Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, because if I ask, I don't know. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and follow me on all social platforms. It's in the description box for you guys down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care now. Bye.